This is TWiT.
All right, and then we can thank Cana or Cana. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, but Cana is a company, a California-based company that has designed a device called the Cana One. I'm going to call them Cana going forward. And basically the idea of Cana One is, and they say this, quote, the world's first molecular beverage printer.
Okay.
So it's a printer for drinks, essentially. And I immediately kind of think of Keurig, right? Like Keurig was one in recent years that did this for coffee. And it was like, whoa, this little machine can, simulate coffee from Starbucks and Pete's and all of these different, things or whatever.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, no, yeah. Implying heavy use of air quotes around that, right? Like that was the promise.
I agree with you then.
Yeah. The idea here is that most drinks, they say, are 90% water, and then other things added in, like sugar, flavorings, alcohol, that's all added in, but 90% water. Cana spent 3 years analyzing drinks on a molecular level. So I don't really know exactly how they did that. That's what they claim, but okay. They analyzed thousands of beverages, and they isolated, they say, trace compounds for flavor and aroma in the process.
Okay.
So they're really leaning heavily in this, like, we've got science behind us. We're not just like mixing drinks together and going, oh, it kind of tastes like a Coca-Cola. We're saying we broke it down to the molecular level into its like trace components, its compounds, and we can replicate that.
When I was in middle school, I went to the local university and got to work with a scientist. And he showed me this machine. You put a pipette, you pull out some fluid or whatever you're trying to work with, and you put it into this machine, and it spins it so fast that it breaks it up into its different parts.
Oh, okay.
And so then it spits out an analysis of that, and you can see the different molecular components that make up whatever substance you're working with. And then for the purpose there, it was to analyze the different parts. But that is a very real thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if they used a similar kind of machine.
Yeah.
You've got taste scientists and
for sure.
Like ice cream scientists who do all of this kind of stuff on the regular. So so far, I mean, you got to keep going, but so far I'm on board. I'm thinking of like a CMYK printer, except this is just the different components that make up everything.
Yes, in your kitchen. So they created a system that uses an ingredient cartridge or ingredient cartridges rather to, like I said, print out beverages essentially, right? The machine can recreate, by their estimation, thousands of different drinks as a result: iced coffee, iced tea, sparkling tea, energy water, flavored water, sports drinks, soft drinks, hard seltzers, cocktails, even wine, which is weird.
That one's weird.
That one I'm like, okay, but that's where the Keurig comes in, and I'm like, the Keurig quality comes in, and I'm like, I don't think that's going to be good wine. But I'm interested. I'm curious. Users have the ability to tweak sugar levels, to tweak caffeine levels, and to tweak alcohol levels.
Oh, man. I'm kind of on board with this.
And by the way, if you were worried, you got one of these in your kitchen, you have kids, you can password protect the caffeine and alcohol settings. So that's good. All right, we can lock it down. Or if
you've got a boozy partner and you're just like...
You can just ramp it up max. It takes those ingredient cartridges that I was talking about, like that main ingredient cartridge, but there's also a cartridge for sugar and for spirits, right? So yeah, I don't understand how that works with wine. Like, I'm still kind of baffled on that one. And then there is a CO2 cylinder that's added for obvious reasons. And I'm guessing somewhere in there, either you're channeling water, like a water feed, for it to run off of, or you're refilling it with water. I don't know. That I couldn't find. So obviously, they're touting this as like, hey, it's convenient, has some serious benefits for the earth, right? It cuts down on waste and emissions. So you're not using, buying bottles of water or buying bottles of Coke or anything like that.
Oh,
also, they say it reduces water waste because all that water wouldn't be needed to grow the ingredients themselves, right? So you're not using water to grow the oranges. You're like using an orange flavor thing.
Orange essence. Yeah.
Yes. So All right, so you can reserve one of these for only $99, Micah. So, that's your reserve cost.
Okay.
All right.
Just to reserve it.
Just to reserve it.
Okay.
That will apply to the final price. If you're within the first 10,000 orders, I think it's $499. So So you reserve for $99 and you pay another $400. After that, it's $799. It's going to release next year. That's a pretty expensive device,
goes up
right?
quite a bit, yeah.
And release next year. That's their promise, anyways. Allegedly, we'll see. Here's where the catch comes in, because you knew it was going to come.
Wait, there wasn't
right?
already a catch. It kind of sounds catchy, but go ahead. Yeah.
Well, if if I paid $800, like, yes, that's a lot of money. But if I truly paid $800 and I got a device that could make any drink and like I never had to replace it and everything, I'd consider it. I'd be like, okay, that's expensive, but it does so much.
It does all of these, yeah.
Right. All those cartridges are actually replaced for free. So they replace the cartridges for free when you need them.
What?
But that's not the catch. The catch is each drink costs a fee.
Hold on.
Hold up.
You're telling me I go through it and there's a little price next to it. Oh, I want wine. That'll be $5.99.
Yes. So they say 29 cents for sparkling water. That's like the low end, right? Up to $2.99 for a cocktail.
How are they? Okay, someone would hack this machine.
Yeah, totally. I have to imagine that would happen.
Because you've got it right.
Or someone would try anyways.
What they should do is a subscription service that ultimately covers the cost of those cartridges being sent to you.
Ah, that would work. That would work for me.
Rather than do it this way. Because this I think, hits on all of the wrong parts within us where we feel like what is ours is ours.
Yeah.
And so to have, that's the thing, like I've got all of the things inside of this machine to make what I want. It's not like they're using some sort of molecular transport service that I'm paying for to get the ingredients from some other, some universe connected to ours. It's all right there. So I could like break open the cartridge and break open this and sort of pour them together and make my own. That's where that doesn't feel right. If they charge, $50 every quarterly, so at the end of the year you pay $200, and with that they'll send you the cartridges as you run out of them. That makes me feel more comfortable than every time I want a sparkling water from this thing, I'm paying $29. I don't want a vending machine in my own home.
That's kind of what it feels like, right? It feels like you're paying $800 for a vending machine.
Yeah. Oh, I was so on board with this.
Yeah, I know. It's a bummer, and I'm getting flashbacks to Juicero as well.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
Whole thing.
At least with that though, you would go and buy the cartridges as you needed them.
Right.
So again, it wasn't as if the ingredients were already right there in your home. After you ran out, you went and got the new ones. And yes, they had the DRM, so to speak, copy protection, so to speak, where you had to use the Juicero cartridges. But again, you were paying every time you needed a new one. It wasn't that once you had it, you had to pay. So here's the thing. Like, I was completely on board because I was thinking about all of these recent companies. In fact, one of the sponsors on the network, Blueland, instead of spending a bunch of money on shipping what is mostly water, and then also the environmental impact of sending what is mostly water, you get a tablet that has all of the chemicals that you need. You add your own water to it, and then you shake it and it's good to go.
Yeah.
That is a very smart way of doing things. I think about that a lot. Every time I get a new thing, whether it be shampoo or, I switched from using liquid chlorine bleach to getting bleach tablets because, again, I'm thinking about how much I was just paying for water and also having Amazon deliver what is mostly water. All these different things that could just be the chemicals themselves. I'm even on board with wine because if you think about it, what is anything that we consume but a grouping of different molecules, a grouping of different ingredients that come together to make a thing. Yes, it doesn't have the special magic of what it's sort of like listening
the
on
age of the vine.
Yeah,
or
listening on vinyl versus listening to music that's not like. I know that there's, for some people, there's something to that.
Yes,
but if somebody were to take a glass of wine from, 1876 and put that in that machine that I talked about earlier, break it up into its component parts, and then take all of those component parts and put them together here, made right now, not however many years ago that is, I don't do that math, that's the same thing to me.
Yeah.
And so I would be on board. Like, I hit this button and it makes me a glass of red wine that is just the same molecular makeup as something else. That's a great idea. So that had me legitimately, as you're talking, I was like, I may go by the end of the day and plunk down that $99 because I think this would be a cool thing.
Yeah.
But the second you tell me I'm basically paying for a vending machine to be installed in my home,
Yeah, sorry.
I'm outie.
Sorry to do that to you. But it shows that it's possible and that maybe someone else will come along and actually do this. What it reminded me of was that old Jetsons cartoon. And they had
this is the future I want to
I had
live
to
in.
look up the name of it because I couldn't remember the name. It's the food Aracacycle, I believe, was the food machine where you basically told it I want pizza and it generates a pizza and gives you the pizza. So we're getting closer and closer to that, but we're not quite there yet. Yeah, the idea of having a vending machine in my kitchen, that would just tick me off every time.
Absolutely. I hope that what happens is they see that Cana gets a bunch of gets a lot of feedback about this, and that they do switch to a subscription model instead.
That makes more sense to me.
I would consider that at least for a couple of years, just to give it a try.
Yeah.
This future is the one that I want to live in, but it is not the future where, again, unless those ingredients are being teleported, then
then there's a service tied to those ingredients.
Exactly. Versus it's right there in my home.
Yeah, I already
have
it.
It would be like me taking the ingredients I have in my cabinet to make some chocolate chip cookies and then like throwing $5 out the window and then mixing all of those ingredients together to make cookies. It's like I had to pay for them all coming together, except I did it myself. So I just don't like that.
Yeah, I mean, and as I think about it now, so if they have one main ingredient capsule or cartridge or whatever that generates most of this stuff outside of the sugar, the alcohol and everything. So they must be doing some sort, doing the math around this and thinking like, different liquids, different drinks in this world have different value, right? Something that's an alcoholic beverage is just more expensive than a sparkling water inherently.
Yeah.
So they would have to then do the math on those cartridges to be sure that they're covered and getting their fair share for it. So those cartridges probably would end up being really expensive. That would be my guess if they were actually selling them because they, but at the same time, like, what does it matter? What does it matter what the real world cost of alcohol actually is? Create your platform that like totally, bypasses what we've come to expect out of what we pay for drinks. And you got a slam dunk. You're selling those like left, right, and center because people are like, well, heck yeah, why wouldn't I get this? Because I no longer have to spend $3 or $4 for a cocktail.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll come eventually.
The chat was asking, it was a chromatograph. Yeah, that's what I used was a chromatograph to separate.
Okay.
I don't think it goes all the way to molecule. Maybe very expensive ones do, but it broke it up into its chemical components, which I think would be all that this would need to do. So yeah.
Interesting.
This could be so cool, but
could be. But you know what? It's one in potentially,
Yeah, there are other companies who could do this.
Other companies that might do this and maybe do it differently. So
because again, on the one hand, I understand their thinking in terms of what people do or don't like. And so to get those cartridges shipped to you for free probably does feel good. I just think it runs counter to the way at least my brain works.
Yeah.
They put the exactly.
If I have to pay per drink.
Per drink, yeah. They put the savings in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Because then that almost kind of encourages people to not use it as often, which means that you're not getting the value of those cartridges shipped for free because you're not using it as often.
Yeah.
So then really the company is saving money in that way because they've discouraged you from using it as often after they've already got the money from you for buying it.
Right. Yeah.
Try again.
There we go. Exactly.
Interesting story, though. Very cool.